Alright, good morning people of YouTube. So we are back again today with a pretty fun deck profile. So this time we have Gallantmon Turbo. This is a stack-oriented deck where you basically build up a big level 6 and swing for all of your opponent's security and then close them out with something else. And it's a deck that started off mostly as like a pet project or like a fun deck, and then it actually ended up being kind of good. So I don't expect to like win a regional with this or anything, but if you want to go and maybe do well at a local, this is and while having a fun time, this is a deck that you might want to look into and might want to try out. Gallantmon puts on a lot of aggression just by being a good generic level 6, and if you can build up into it, then you can win games. So we'll go ahead and get right into the card choices. As always, make sure you guys please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think of this kind of content down below. So for the eggs, we got Digimon and 4 copies of Demi-Meramon. So Demi-Meramon gives you more power when you attack a player, which is what you want, and Digimon, you know, you're deleting a lot of Digimon, so the plus 2,000 will trigger a bunch, and if you give plus 2,000 to one of your, 11,000 power level 6s, then that right there is enough to live most security checks, so I do like this egg lineup, and it's been working for me. So for the level 3s, we got 4 copies of the starter deck Guillamon. This card can warp, and it can also draw you more cards. That's kind of what we want this deck to do. We want to turbo out into our level 6, we want to flood the board, and we want to draw a bunch of cards doing it. For the next level 3, we got 3 copies of the starter deck Agumon that gives you plus 2,000 when you attack a player. This card can make sure that your level 6s survive in certain matchups, so that's why it has a spot in this list. And then for the rest of the level 3s, we have a bunch of 2-ofs. We got 2 copies of the promo Guillamon, which lets you draw a card whenever it attacks. That's always fun. You want to draw more cards, and this is a rookie that will let you do that. We have the Biomon from the EX collection. This card will let you draw a card when you attack a player as an inheritable. So the entire Biomon line from the EX collection is just really good. The Birdramon could have found a place in this deck. The Garudamon I was heavily considering. This card says whenever you attack a player, you gain a memory as an inheritable. And then the Phoenixmon is also really good, but this Biomon is just when attacking a player, you draw a card, and that's kind of what you want without, like, and this isn't really that much commitment, but if you wanted to, you could basically throw the entire line in as a second Mega, as kind of a budget option that still has some value, because I think that card has security attack +1, and then it gets, you like draw 2 whenever you attack a player, so that's also really good, but I think this is the best card in the line just because it's draw 1 on a rookie, and this is just an amazing effect. So we have 2 more Biomon. This is the starter deck blocker Biomon, which is nice. You kind of want to set up a mini wall while you're building up your big level 6, either that or rush them down. This card can't really attack a player, so you can't really rush them down with it, but this card can protect your rookies while you are attacking, so I do like it. This also is really good in the Bond matchup because it will stop Gabumons from attacking, so that's always fun. And then for the last rookies in the list, we have 2 copies of the Monodramon, the 2-cost vanilla, just to give us something cheap to play while putting on aggression. So got 15 rookies, kind of a high number of rookies compared to the low numbers for some of the rest of the levels, but this deck can kind of rush your opponent down with rookies, so it makes sense. Plus, this Guillamon can warp into a level 6, so that's always nice. And then we got, for our level 4s, we got 3 copies of the Security Attack Greymon. Really good in your stack. It's your main level 4 that you want to evolve on top of. We have 2 copies of Dark Tyrannomon. So I'm playing this as opposed to something like Deltamon because it is a cheap evolution. Like, you just play it for 1, and that's really fun, and you can just start attacking with it. This is really good to throw on top of the Biomon from the EX set, and it's also just really good if you just want to get into a level 6 really quickly, is just having this Dark Tyrannomon. So I do think that this has more of a place in this deck than something like Deltamon, and that's why I'm playing 2 copies of this as opposed to playing like a 4th Greymon. Now we have 3 copies of the starter deck Geo Greymon. This deck is a red deck, so you want to be putting on aggression. So having a body that can play out of security is nice. Also, it deletes something that is also nice. So it's just a great card, and adding security pressure to a deck like this is a welcome addition, because this deck needs something a little bit extra if you're going to keep up with some of the tier 1 decks of the format. So we got 2 copies of Cordramon. It's a good blocker. It's a good red blocker. Play Cordramon. We got a copy of Agunimon, and that is going to close out the level 4s, because Aguni for game is still a very, very viable thing. And, yeah. Wish I could play more, but I think every other level 4 in the deck is pretty important. So, that's what we're going with. We got 11 level 4s in this list. So, on to the level 5s. I got 3 copies of Lava Margaritamon. This is a 2-cost Evo, which is really nice for helping ramp. If you're starting at 3 for the turn and you have Dark Tyranno in your hand, then you can go up into a Gallant that way. And but the big thing is that it's just 8,000 power on a 2-cost Evo. If you put this on top of like the Greymon, right, and you swing for security attack +1 at 8,000, that's good enough for against a lot of decks. This is just a great card. And, yeah, you're going to find yourself swinging with this card a lot more in the BT6 format. So having a cheap beater that can also bridge evolutions is always fun. This is the most important level 5 in the list. We got 3 copies of Rise Greymon. This is the one that Digiburst and lets you play Tamers. And, yeah, it is important to get your ties in play, and it's even more important to get your ties in play for relatively free. So this helps you do that. Plus, this card's inheritable effect is absolutely absurd when combined with the new Gallantmon, because the new Gallantmon states, if you attack, then you get to delete something that has 4,000 power or less. So if your opponent has a 6,000 power blocker on the board, and you've used this card's effect to play a tie, and you evolve it into a Gallantmon, you swing with this, right? If they have the 6,000 power blocker, you can give it -2,000, put it to 4,000, and then destroy it with Gallantmon so that they can't block you. And that's just a really good play. So its inheritable is good. Its skill to play a Tamer is good. This is the most important level 5 we have in the list. So we have 3 of each of those, and then I have 1 copy of War Growlmon rounding out the list. This is the new one from the starter deck. This card reads that whenever this card attacks, you can delete a Digimon with 3,000 power or less. So this is really good into the bond matchups that are running around, because this can pick off Agumon and Gabumon. And it gives you an inheritable effect that if you do delete a Digimon this turn, then you get security attack +1. So this can make your Gallantmons extra threatening. So I do really like this card. In testing, it has been performing a lot better than I thought it was going to, especially going into the BT6 meta. So I'm highly considering bumping this up. So yeah, War Growlmon is a card that's definitely been pulling its weight, and I highly recommend you try it out in your red list. Anything that isn't Jessamon, that is, because in Jessamon you really just want the savior. But this is just a great generic red level 5, and we're very, very welcome to have it to the roster. Now, on to the level 6s. We got 3 copies of the new Gallantmon. This card has security attack +1 and that sick deletion effect I was talking about earlier. This card's amazing. Warping Guilmon into this is nuts, and this card just puts on tremendous pressure. It's a great level 6. Even though its effects sound really, really basic, they are. They're just good, generic effects, and sometimes that's all you need. So this is a great, great card, and I'm very, very excited to have access to these starter decks now. We got 1 copy of the original Gallantmon. This card can improve your matchup against security control. And if the game drags on, this card suddenly becomes better than this one. Early game, not so much, but it's still a great card, and it's worth including. The last level 6 we're playing is a single copy of BT1 War Greymon, because playing this card allows you to play less copies of a Delicate Plan, and that's the sole reason. This is the original Delicate Plan, just on legs, and that makes it a great card in a format where we have a bunch of security control. Especially being a North American player, the homeland of security control. So, that's my level 6 lineups, and it's been working out really well for me. On to the level 7s, I have 2 copies of the Blitz Omnimon, because Blitz Omnimon for game comes up a lot in this list. There are a lot of times where you're just swinging Gallantmon or War Greymon in for their entire security stack, and then their opponent is just kind of like, yeah, well, you're going to play a rookie and then your turn, you're like, nah, bro, I got Gallantmon, and then you just win, or I got Omnimon, and then you just win the game. So, this card is absolutely amazing. So, play it. Any red deck, any blue deck, play this card. For the Tamers, we got 3 copies of Taikamiya to give your Gallantmon extra security attack, and to set you at 3, because playing at 3 is very, very important in this list. And if you already have one in play, and your opponent checks a second one, then there's a very real possibility that your Gallantmon just gets to security attack +4, so this is just an amazing tamer. I don't really know why it's as expensive as it is right now. I guess that's only because of Jessamon, but, it's a good card, so I don't necessarily see the price tag, but I can understand it. Going on to the rest of the options, we got a single copy of a Delicate Plan. This card is like War Greymon, and between that and this, security control shouldn't be that hard of a time for you. We got 2 copies of Red Memory Boost to help with your consistency, and then we got 2 copies of Atomic Blaster and 2 copies of Gaia Force to make your security a lot more threatening. So, that's it for this list. It's been working out really well for me, surprisingly. It's not a deck that I would even really call a tier 2 deck, just because it doesn't have the representation. But it is a lot of fun, and it can kind of sweep the rug, because your opponent won't really know what a lot of these cards do, and whenever you just start swinging with them, you're just like, oh, well, I can take out whole stacks. So, hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. That's all I have to say, really, about Gallantmon, other than if you are considering more EX cards to play other than the Biomon line, the new War Greymon that has Blitz and deletes a blocker whenever it attacks is pretty fun. This is just a great card, and is worth messing around with. And win rate 60%. In a deck where you're building towers, like you're just building big stacks and swinging in, and you have cards that cost 4 memory to Evo, like this Gallantmon, win rate 60% is something that's always worth considering. If you have the extra room and you're a deck that isn't blue and can't really gain memory just because you play that certain color, this is a card that's worth considering. So, I think that's all I gotta say. As always, hope you guys enjoy yourself. Until next time, bye everyone.